Everyone, welcome to our 5.2 lesson. This is part 2. We started our 5.2 notes in class last day, and we're just going to finish those notes up today. So I'd like you to have your 5.2 notes open. We're still looking at common factors or factoring, the beginning of factoring polynomials. And we're going to actually work a little bit backwards here. So in your 5.2 notes, I'd like you to flip right to the very end. So we are going to go right to the last page of your notes that says determine binomial factors. We're still talking about factoring. Up until now, we've looked at how to figure out what the GCF is, the greatest common factor, and pull it out front, or in other words, factor it out of a polynomial. We're going to do the same thing here as well, except the GCF might be more than one term in this case. Okay, so what we see down here below, these are binomial factors. Binomial means two terms. So these are factors where there's more than one term in the factor. These are actually partially factored trinomials. Later on, we're going to learn how to factor trinomial. And sometimes we'll see something like this as we get about halfway through the process. So let's have a look at the first one here. We have 3x times x minus 4 plus 5 times x minus 4. So what I have here is two groups. Okay, this is a group here, the 3x times x minus 4, and I've got the 5 times x minus 4. If I went ahead and multiplied the number in front of those brackets, I would end up with 4 terms altogether. But this is partially factored, so somebody has already factored out the GCF, 3x for the first set and 5 for the second set. What we're seeing here is that x minus 4 is common to this first group, and x minus 4 is common to this group here as well. So I can actually factor that x minus 4 out because x minus 4 is my GCF. So x minus 4 is common to both of those, and I'm going to factor it out. I'm going to bring it out front. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and bring that x minus 4, okay, in the very front. And then I'm going to write what's left in brackets. So x minus 4 times, well, what's left? If we look at the first term, 3x was being multiplied by x minus 4. So if I factor that x minus 4 out, it leaves me with only 3x. Okay, plus, well, in the next set here, I had 5 times x minus 4. And if I factor that x minus 4 out, it just leaves me with 5. So my answer here is x minus 4 is common to both the 3x and the 5. And so I can factor that out, and I have x minus 4 is multiplied by 3x plus 5. Okay, and I could always check my work. If I wanted to FOIL this and multiply x minus 4 by 3x plus 5, I should get the exact same answer back. Okay, so I could go ahead and do that. And really, I could FOIL it, or even if I looked at it like as if this was just, this is a binomial. But if I think about this as my GCF, x minus 4 times 3x would give me that. Okay, there would be the product. And I could go a little further, but for now, just to show you, if I multiply this by everything inside the bracket, so if I use the distributive property, that would leave me with 3x times x minus 4 and 5 times x minus 4. So I would get my same answer, or my original question, back again, which is what I want. So all I'm showing you here is when you get into some more complex polynomials, if you see something in brackets that's common to both of them, okay, just like before we would have seen a factor that was common to both of them, that thing in brackets is the GCF. It is a factor, and it is common to both. So here again, I see that I have 5a multiplied by a plus 2 in brackets. Subtract 2 multiplied by a plus 2. Well, I see a plus 2 twice. Okay, it is part of each of these terms, okay, because the 5a is being multiplied by that, and the negative 2 is being multiplied by that. So my GCF is a plus 2. Okay, and I can factor that out and bring it out front. And then I'm simply going to write, well, what's left? Okay, well, that a plus 2 was being multiplied by 5a. So if I factor that out, it leaves me with just 5a. Okay, and if I bring the a plus 2 out, it leaves me with minus 2 for my second term. So there's my final answer. Okay. I'm going to take us back a little bit in our notes then to have a look at the least common multiple. I wanted to continue with factoring because that's what we started with. And now let's flip back just a couple of pages, okay, to the least common multiple, LCM. And this is on the second page of your notes, right up at the top of the page. The least common multiple is called the LCM, and it is not the same as the GCF. The GCF stands for greatest common factor, and a multiple is the opposite of a factor. Okay, a multiple is when we're looking at two numbers, for example, 15 and 10. We're looking for a product. Okay, a multiple is like a product. So a product is what we get when we times two numbers together. So if we have a factor by times a factor, like 2 times 3, okay, 6 is the product or the multiple. So what we're looking here at now, if you're asked for the least common multiple, it's the smallest numbers that both terms, okay, or all the terms go into. So in other words, what product could I get where 15 is a factor and 10 is a factor? So these are my two, these are both factors. And I'm looking for what number will they both go into? In other words, what could I multiply them by to get the same number? Okay, and I want the lowest common multiple. So I'm looking for the lowest product that I can get. Obviously, one product for any two numbers would be the product that you get when you multiply the numbers together. So for example, 15 times 10 will give me a product, 150, and both 15 and 10 are both factors of 150. So 150 is a possible multiple, but it might not be the lowest one. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through all the factors starting from 1 or 2, and I'm going to see what are the different products I could get for 15 and what are the products I could get for 10. So that's exactly how we're going to set this up. So let's think about it. Well, 15, we have 1 times 15 will give me a product of 15. Okay, over here, let me say 1 times 10 gives me 10. Okay, then 2 times 15 gives me 30. 2 times 10 gives me 20. So I haven't yet got a product or a multiple that's the same for both. So I haven't yet got to a common multiple. Okay, but let's now do 3 times 15, which is 45. Let's do 3 times 10, which is 30. Now I do see a common multiple. 3 times 10 gives me 30, and 2 times 15 also gives me 30. So there is a product that both 15 and 10 share, okay, as factors. So 30 and 30, that is my lowest common multiple. So the LCM is 30. Because both 10 and 15 will go into 30, and that is the lowest number that they will both go into. Okay, 150 is also a common multiple, but it's too big. It's not the lowest one. So my answer is this one right here. Let's do another one, 6 and 8. Okay, again, we're asking ourselves, what is the lowest product or the lowest number that both 6 and 8 will go into? So that both 6 and 8 are factors of. So again, we started off 6 times 1 is 6. Obviously, timesing it by 1 is just going to give me the same number, okay, and that's not a common multiple. So let's go to 6 times 2. Okay, 6 times 2 is 12. 8 times 2 is not 12, it is 16. Okay, so I haven't got there yet. Let's do 6 times 3. 6 times 3 is going to give me 18. Okay, and 8 times 3 is going to give me 24. So I'm still not there yet because I don't have any number that's the same on both sides. I don't have a common multiple yet. But 6 times 4 gives me 24. And 24, I see that on this side. I also see it over here because 8 is a factor of 24. So 8 times 3 gives me 24, and 6 times 4 gives me 24. So both 6 and 8 will go into 24, and that's the lowest number. So the lowest common multiple for these two factors is 24. All right. Lowest common multiples are really simple, but they are not the same as a GCF. So we're looking for a number that both those factors will go into when we're looking for the lowest common multiple. So it's a little bit different. We want to keep those two terms, LCM and GCF, separate in our minds. Okay. A GCF is when you have two terms and you're looking for a common factor. Okay, a common factor. That's all we need to look at here for 5.2. So at this point, you can finish your 5.2 worksheet. Okay, and I'll write that on our website as well. But I'd like you to try all the remaining 5.2 questions in your 5.2 worksheet. Check your answers. Make sure you're doing them correctly. Thanks for joining me. Bye for now.